1990s, Martha Stewart was at the zenith of her career. She was the recognized expert on home furnishings, decor, and entertaining, right? And when her little private company went public, Martha Stewart, living on the media, she became a billionaire with a B, a billionaire, boom, like that. All right, just off of what she owned of the stock. But over time, reports came out from former executives that Martha was difficult to work for, that she was, in their words, power hungry, and a bit of a triangulator, where she would pit two executives against each other and sort of try to keep control by doing that. And ultimately, this damaged the culture, this damaged the perception of the brand, this damaged the performance. They had to bring in another CEO and ask her to step aside and do more of a design and creative thing. And in 2015, the whole company was sold for $353 million. Retain control. If you can simulate a strategy before you implement, do it. If you can test it in an area of your business before you roll it out across the company, do it. Look for unintended consequences when you roll a decision out. Be open to it, but also be a proactive boss. Listen to your employees. Kodak, again, one of the 5 most valuable brands in the world. 1990s, they had 75% of the camera market and 90% of the film market. They were a cash machine, generating profits unbelievable. Kodak moment, look it up. It was a very powerful marketing campaign. This is Steve Sasson. Does anybody know Steve? Good guy. 24-year-old, new hired engineer. Given a task to figure out how to productize or do something with these LCD panels and some digital stuff. And he brought to his bosses that, which is the first digital camera. He created it. Take the picture, record it onto the cassette, put it in a different machine, show the picture. And instead of going, Steve, this was in 1975, you're a genius! The executives and his boss shunned him and this technology. One of the executives said, Steve, no one will ever want to look at their pictures on a television set. Where do we look at our photos now? Right? Google Rochester, New York, and see what happened to Rochester, New York. They kept developing. Matter of fact, they did a study in the 80s and found that digital could probably disintermediate film and their whole business model. But instead of productizing it initially, what they did is they licensed it. They made $3 billion on licensing to digital technology companies. It was a major part of their revenue up until they filed for bankruptcy in 2012. Because they had no products for what the market had become. But they had a lot of the basic technology years before anybody else. Last one, stay outcome focused. Know why you're doing what you're doing. Make sure your people know their role. Stay focused. Don't get too caught up in big data and all this. Know what you need to know and monitor and watch it carefully. And never come out with a strategic decision that you touch the customers. And inside that strategic decision, you hide a minor decision that fixes the business model problem. Does that make sense? Don't bury a business model problem decision inside of a bigger thing and say, look at the lipstick. Isn't that big, beautiful? Because the truth will come out. I'll give you an example. In 2004, Keurig, who had transformed Green Mountain from a regional roaster to a $4 billion a year corporation, was coming out with their next generation of brewers. It was, CEO Brian Kelly said, the most important product introduction in the company's history. The marketing department said, it's the future of brewing. Because not only can we make cups, we can now brew entire carafes. And when the product came out, the average review for this new product on Amazon was a 1-star. A 1-star! Because they had put in the product a lockout feature that prevented people from using third-party K-Cups. Why? Because their high-margin K-Cup sales were declining, and they wanted to get that back, so they wouldn't let you use it. You couldn't even use your own My K-Cup. They sold this to you, but it didn't work in your new product. You know, we make our own little custom blends of coffee. The reviews on Amazon, greedy, just killed this company. They ultimately, their revenues in the quarter after they launched their new product went down by 12%. They had to remove that feature and allow people to use third party. Have the freedom to choose the coffee that you want. Steve Jobs said there are downsides to everything, there are unintended consequences to everything. One last story and I'm done. You got it? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, it comes from the Philippines in the 1990s. Pepsi, this is Pepsi's turn. Gotta be fair. We did Coke earlier, we do Pepsi now. They're used to kind of battling 40-40 or whatever, 30, you know, kind of equal a little bit here. I'm fighting for a market share. You get 2 points, I'll take them back from you. Do all these crazy things. Not in the Philippines in the 90s. Pepsi had 17% market share, and Coke had 75. And they're like, dude, we got this sucks. You know, corporate's all like, we got to do something. Marketing department, figure it out. And they did. They came up with a program called the number fever, and it's genius, right? Because it's simple. They would put on the inside of a bottle cap 3 numbers and then some prize. And they had a whole series of prizes, and they led up to one grand prize of $1,000,000 pesos that would be awarded at the end of the big marketing campaign. That's about $25,000. And so they kicked this campaign off. And in 2 weeks, their market share went up to 40%. They were like, this is great, because it married people's desire for getting rich quick with the locals' love of gambling. And it's like, they estimated that half of the Philippine population played this game. It was unbelievable. They extended it several times, but finally, like, we're out of money. We gotta stop. So, what are we gonna do? We're gonna pick the one number, and if you have that number, if you can get to Manila, to the Pepsi headquarters, we want to give you your $1,000,000 pesos. Purchase break, come on down. So they picked the number, 349, $1,000,000 pesos. Come down. Over the rest of the week, tens of thousands of people came. Tens of thousands. The unintended consequence of this decision is that the printer didn't get the memo that they were only supposed to print one bottle cap with 349. Yeah, right? There was supposed to be a set of numbers, you know, 3-digit numbers, and out of that pool of just one of each of those 3-digit numbers, we're going to pull the one winning number. Well, they pulled the one winning number, but there were 200,000. 200,000 bottle caps. So, sorry, they didn't get the memo. I'm just telling you the story. People were pissed. All the goodwill they built was undone almost overnight. 40 Pepsi bottling trucks were burned to the ground. Molotov cocktails and hand grenades were thrown at the bottling plants. They had to have the Pepsi executives and their families leave the Philippines, fearing for their safety. Thousands of lawsuits, civil and criminal, were filed both against Pepsi and the Pepsi executives. It took the courts in the Philippines 15 years to litigate this, and finally decided, well, there was no criminal intent with the number fever, but there was a problem. It cost them tens of millions of dollars. They paid 50,000 people who claimed they had the winning number just trying to solve this problem. So, I don't think unintended consequences of any decisions you're going to make will lead to this, ladies and gentlemen. I really say that with absolute confidence. Take that to the bank. But, can they be smaller? Can they affect your business as systemically? Can they, more importantly, begin to erode your confidence of your employees in your ability to predict the future? This is important, and I hope that by seeing the 3 types of Dr. Merton's research, the 5 causes of Dr. Merton's research based on large-scale social systems, what is a company but a small society? Hierarchy, people, trying to do purposeful action to get a goal done. We can apply Dr. Merton's research with our 6-step secure model to hopefully avoid, reduce, and mitigate unintended consequences. I hope in the time that I've taken today, I've helped to elucidate the big ideas in the book. And I really appreciate you spending this time in this room. And thank you, Glenn, and thank you everyone for being here.
Great stuff. Some stories I've never heard before.
Yeah.
And how many people were thinking of decisions you made recently that might have been a little too quick? Well, thanks again for sharing tonight. And we'll have another session in a quarter. So every quarter we're going to have different speakers come in and share different ideas. And we really encourage you guys to, again, foster that communication afterwards and take it with you back to your office.